Event quest options for May. Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. Check out the link in the description. It will go to the guide, the normal side, not side quest, I've already done that one. Event quest guide. Of course, starting off with 1.1, you have got to take in champions that are hashtag Defender, Thunderbolts or Inhuman. Now this gives you plenty of options to play with depending if you've got any of these champions. If you don't, then skill-based champions will facilitate your fight by fight. Look out for certain champions that indeed are of the skill variety, like Craven Hunter, Hawkeye and Punisher, which double up, so you better take them into multiple fights, getting those fury buffs going from fight to fight to fight to fight, which is great. But use any skill-based champion to fit the need, to fit the counter, that works relatively well. The end boss is Yondu. This is a pretty standard fight, pretty easy, and in a nutshell, go take in bleed immune champions. As a lot of you know, the champion will cause some bleed and lack of parrying, which will be frustrating, but nevertheless using champions that interact with like having a class advantage and some sort of like, you know, Hercules takes less damage from bleed, Omega Sentinel will regen, Cosmic Ghost Rider is bleed immune. Use bleed immune champions. King Groot, the list goes on. Pick whatever bleed immune champion you want, keep the champion to an SP1 and you should be fine. 1.2 is going to be centered around tech-based champions. Better if you've got quick and easy build to armor buffs because you can interact with Power Technician. I think it's Power Technician, isn't it? It is Power Technician. This will be the likes of Iron Man Infinity War, Warlock, Omega Sentinel, Guillotine. You can use Cap Sam Wilson, Ultron. Look, lots of different options depending if you've got any of these ones. Massacre is your boss. Use mutants. They're pretty much the best to go against this. Archangel, Domino, Apocalypse if you want, Bishop, Colossus for sure. These are all great options to take against this. It does have ebb and flow knockdown. Again, like this is, I don't see any issue. I mean, I used the wrong champion. I used a Doctor Doom and I found it was fine. The high energy diet, the defender has 90% energy resistance, and any hit that deals energy damage regenerates them for what the damage would have been. Yeah, look, as I said, I made the mistake of bringing in the Doctor Doom, and I shouldn't have done. I was too cocksure of myself. But with Conflictor and Adaptive Override, again, nothing really to worry about. As long as you bring a champion that doesn't kind of interact with any kind of energy. Yeah, okay, Bishop. Yeah, okay, some of the champions I did mention. But to be honest, there's nothing really to worry about with it. So yeah, have at it, really, with any of the options, because they do a lot of damage and it isn't as difficult when it comes to a fight. 2.1 is Short Temper, Sidestep, Strike. Knock down the enemy with some of the champions mentioned, or have those champions that are science champions. And as soon as you've done a knockdown, you've got an evade charge, which of course is going to help you out and be able to stun the enemy. So make sure to do that. Always do your knockdown, always get that evade, and then it all works out very, very nicely. And some of the various options: Agent Venom, Anti-Venom, Carnage, Null, Venom, Venom Pool, any of the Spider-Verse champions, Spiderman, any science. Yeah, and it's some of the Sinister 6 as well. Silk, Penny Parker. Look, loads of options for this. So the boss, Domino, has damage, reimbursement, shock, rise to power, pass the buck, caltrops, breakneck speed. Champions that are bleed immune will be relatively good options for this one. I also would recommend strongly the likes of Nimrod, Mega Sentinel, Ironheart. Basically any champion that's maybe hashtag robots. Purify champions may be a relatively good option. It just depends on, again, your roster and best champions you have to take it on. It's 2.1 time with Relentless Mutation, Healing Factor. For this, just crack open any mutant to take this on. Mutants are just so darn good, and you can find yourself even breaking out the recently buffed Mr. Sinister. Especially as a regen-based mutant, he can be relatively effective for this. Same thing with X-23, Wolverine, Weapon X, and anything that's got a prowess buff as well. All very helpful. or Smashing and Bishop indeed was one of my favourites, as well as Apocalypse, usual decent champion option. The boss is Yellow Jacket, and I personally used Magneto, and I laugh because it wasn't exactly the best option, but it worked. It actually worked relatively fine. Would I recommend it to anyone else? Iffy one. If you don't like unblockable from this particular champion, which by the way, he does get the unblockable buff as part of Rubber Band, and if you want to remove that, then stagger champions that are not mystics could be relatively good options. Look to Titania, Mr. Fantastic. If you are looking to get degen, I'm not quite sure if it works out Dismay with the likes of Spider-Ham, but it could be a relatively good or interesting option. So again, it's up to you if you want to pick that. There's other great options, whether or not you're using Hercules, whether or not you want to use Bishop for this one. But to be honest, any kind of champion that is able to remove some of that debuffs, then you could look to Baron Zemo, Kingpin, and even Nick Fury to a degree. But yeah, to be honest, I think a lot of champions do this fight relatively straightforward. It's 3.1 time, and we got Mystic Consumption. Break out some of those Mystic-based champions, whether or not it is the likes of Doctor Doom, whether or not it is Juggernaut, whether or not it's Sorcerer Supreme, or many others that are able to suppress buffs. That is good. Stagger nullified-based champions are able to get those Fury passives as quickly as possible, and they're able to do a great amount of damage. Your boss, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, is a bit of a tricky customer, especially because of that evade. This is why I strongly recommend using tech champions. That's going to be in a nutshell. The champion does have Back Blast and also Don't Interrupt Me and Hot Head. This again is just keep watching the champion, but also, and as I said, using tech-based champions. A personal shout out to Iron Man and Infamous Iron Man, who are both Incinerate immune and can be helpful if things don't go so well. Omega Sentinel works a treat. Shocker is seen by the amazing unofficial command Mike. Of course, Showcase is a great option with that one, so go and check that out. Ultron Guillotine 2099, maybe Shuri, but I definitely recommend the first two, and Omega Sentinel. 3.2 is Cosmic Grit. Good champions to use for this will be, of course, Cosmic-based champions. Those that access buffs really easily, but also those that benefit from synergies. If you do have the pre-fight with Odin, it will mean that you will be able to build the buffs necessary quickly on any champion that is Cosmic. So you could look to pair that with Hercules or any other champion. Hulkling, King Groot, Gamora, Galan, Angela, and so many more champions are able to do this and be that benefit to a champion for you. So use those options. The final champion is going to be Silver Sable as your boss. I got to be honest, there is a really easy cheese option, which I'll showcase in a video coming soon. But Bishop, literally just zero effort. You can absolutely cheese it without doing anything. But there's so many different options to take this on. If you're looking to any strong mutants, of course there is. Dust, Onslaught, Storm, like they're there. Archangel, Kingpin, obviously it's a different class, but you know what I mean. Absorbing Man, Doctor Doom, Infamous Iron Man, and so many more can take this on relatively easily. In terms of actually doing the fight, it's just a case of keeping the champion to his SP1, watching out for the fact that the champion has shock damage, so hey, be immune to shock. That can be really helpful, so do bear that in mind. And yeah, that's really it. I would say it's going to be about using those kind of like shock immune champions. Like, use them for sure. Anyway, those are some options. Hope you have a good time in the quest. Check out some other content located on screen, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye.